Hi everyone, Sandra Hayashi, realtor with Fathom Realty. I'm a little late today, but this is my weekly Wednesday lunch and learn, and I apologize for being in the car today. I just finished a luncheon at the Dominion Club, thanks to H.H. Hunt for having a group of realtors who sold their homes there last year, and I got to go and enjoy lunch there. But we're going to get into today's lunch and learn. First, we're going to recap last week's topic, which was finding the lender. So we talked about the best ways to find your lender are to either one, talk to a trusted friend or family member who may have recently used a loan officer to either purchase a home or to have maybe refinanced their home. They're always a good source. Or to get a referral from the realtor that you're working with. So you say, well, you didn't have a realtor. Many of you may already be looking online at homes and be calling on some home that you saw online. So when you call that realtor, the first thing they're going to ask you is if you have been pre-qualified. So they will give you, hi Glenn Cornwell, how are you? They're going to give you the name of a loan officer that they may work with on a regular basis. And so that's a good referral, because having working relationships with loan officers is a great way to have the whole process start, because working relationships in the business world are a great thing to have. And there is a, sorry guys, one of those days. Just had lunch, so it's nice and full. Dessert, had champagne toast, so give me a break here. We are going to build those relationships with the loan officer, and then you are going to call, and the things that you're going to ask them for is a pre-qualification. And the pre-qualification is basically them getting your information, just the preliminary stuff to start with, so that you know if you can qualify to purchase a home and how much of a home that would be for and what your estimated monthly payment would be. So the basic information that the loan officer is going to ask you for is how much you make, your gross annual salary, and what you are your expenses are, and what your debt is there. Let's see, so you're going to ask you your salary and your debt, and what they do is then they put that into what they call DU, designated underwriting, or something along those lines. I'm not a loan officer. I can't offer you a loan. All I can do is offer you the advice on how to find a loan officer that can give you a loan. So they will put it in there, and then they'll come back and tell you whether or not you have the income and debt ratio that would qualify you for a loan, and they will offer you what is called a pre-qualification letter. And they'll tell you how much you qualify for. Maybe 100, 150, 200, depending on what your salary is. You know, you probably, depending on what you make and your credit score, it could go to, $1 million. I'd love it if you could go to $1 million. That'd be great. But you have to be careful of what they say you can afford and what you are comfortable in spending, because most of the time, quite often, they'll say that you can afford a certain dollar amount, but then you'll look at that and you'll say, well, I don't want to spend that much money. They may say that you can buy a $200,000 house at a $1,400 a month payment, and I don't know if that's the right payment. I'm just giving you a number. But then you think about it and you say, well, that's a lot of money every month. I don't know that I could live with paying $1,400 a month out. You might say, I could do $1,200 a month. So then you talk to the loan officer and you say, $1,200 is my comfort zone. And then they run some numbers, and based on interest rate and your credit score and stuff, they say, well, at $1,200 a month, you could afford a $150,000 house. So we'd go out and we would look at a $150,000 house. And it's best to start out at the price range that you're comfortable in, rather than starting out at the higher rate, price range on home, and having to move down. Because when you start looking at $200,000 houses and then you have to go down to a $150,000 house, you're going to be disappointed. I'm just telling you now, it's a disappointment to have to really drop your level of home. So start out low, and then if for some reason you just can't find what you want, but you qualify for a little higher, gradually work your way up until you find what you look at. Because if you have to reduce your price, it can be disappointing. But we'll talk about that later on when we get into actually searching for homes and stuff like that. Today I want to talk about after you get pre-qualified and you're starting to look for houses, the things that you need to do to get ready once you find the house, the other things that you need to provide the loan officer with so that they can process your loan, so that things go smoothly. Because one of the biggest things that holds up the loan process is you, the buyer, not getting all of your information to the lender quickly enough to get all of their processes done, because they have time frames that they have to abide by. There's waiting periods, and 3 days they have to have you see all of the final closing information 3 days before closing, and if you don't get everything to them, that can delay closing. So better prepared you are with all of your documents, and the sooner you send them to them once they ask for them, the better we all are. And so you may have a closing date of, March 31st on your contract, but if you don't do what the lender asks and provide them your documents, they can't meet that closing date. So let's look a little bit at what you need to provide to the loan officer. And you'll say, that's a lot of personal information. And yes, it is. But they're loaning you a lot of money. So they need to know that you can afford it and that you're going to pay it back, and that they're not going to come back and take your house away from you. So just realize that, they're lending you hundreds of thousands of dollars, or probably at least $100,000 if you're getting a loan for any kind of house here in the Chesterfield, Tri-City, Richmond area. So first thing you're going to have to provide to them is current photo ID. That means your driver's license, your passport, or a state identification card, and it has to be valid, current, can't be expired. The next thing you're going to have to provide to them is 30 days worth of pay stubs, the most current 30 days. You're going to need 2 months worth of bank statements and savings account statements. So all bank and savings account statements you have, you need the most 2 current months of that. You need a minimum of 2 years of tax returns, plus the W-2s that go with those tax returns. There are a couple of loan programs that you might need 3 years. So if you've got the 3rd year, go ahead and have it out and ready just in case they ask for it, because it doesn't hurt to have it there. If you're supposed to keep at least 5-7 years tax returns anyway. You should have them, so it shouldn't be that hard to pull them out. Let's see, the next thing that you need is let me look at my notes here. I'm gonna try and remember. Those of you that might just be coming on, I am Sandra Hayashi with Fathom Realty, and we are talking about working with the loan officer and the documents that you need when you're preparing for your loan. And let's see. Yes, we need your employment history. We need 2 years of your last 2 years of employment history, plus the contact information of who they would contact to verify that employment. So HR department, or your boss, or if it was a small company or whatever, so that they can call and contact and get the verification for your last 2 years. And then the residence history, so the last 2 years of where you've lived. So if you're in a rental, then they need the landlord information so that they can call and contact that as well. And then let's see. So then also, some of you may have to provide, if you are divorced or separated, the separation agreement, divorce decree, maybe some child support information. Those are all things that are possible, and the lender would ask for those. And there could be some off the wall type things, or some things you think are off the wall, but the lender's certainly not going to think they're off the wall. They're asking for them because they saw something in your information that triggered a reason. There may be some credit things in your bank statement that need an explanation. You may need to write some letters of explanation as to why you have a large deposit in your checking account that's not a paycheck. There may be other explanations of, that you may need to give to them. And if you do, just write them up, tell them what it is. They're just following government guidelines most of the time, trying to make sure that there's no money laundering going on or anything like that. And so those are just things that you need to know are federal, state, local, mostly governmental guidelines that these lenders are following. And they're not just willy-nilly things that they do to make you, give you a hard time. And the more that you cooperate, the better the whole process goes. So we have a list of these are going to be on my website. I've got my tech people working on it. I thought I could get it on there to where you could just go in and click on it and it would pop right up, but I'm not quite that technically savvy. So my tech people will have a place probably either later today or tomorrow. Worst case, by next Wednesday when I come on with a new topic. Then there's my husband Keith. Thanks for watching. And Charvette Mitchell, how are you? There will be the link where you can go on and find this whole list of information for the documents that you need to prepare for your loan officer to get you the loan, to get you pre-qualified and then pre-approved. And then next week we're going to talk further about, let's see, what are we talking about next week? Oh, actually the things that go into the loan process, what the do's and don'ts of what you should be doing while you are in the process of loan, such as not going out and buying furniture and all those kind of things. So we will be talking about that next week, and I hope that if you have anybody that might be looking for a lender, looking for a realtor, that thinks this information might be good for them, to please share my post. If you need me to contact you, put a 1 down in the comments and I'll be happy to contact them. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks.